Hello, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the tricks of the trade, some enablers and some features that can really help increase the life of various sensing devices in very rugged environments such as metals fabrication, welding, cutting, chipping, grinding, and stamping. I want to talk a little bit about the importance of cables. We have to connect everything together in these mechanisms and these automated systems. Typically, we see a home run cable going to a sensor, and people have to replace the entire thing when something gets damaged. One little trick of the trade is if we have a sensor with a quick disconnect connector or a pigtail, and we have a home run cable, the home run cable going back to the host control gets mounted away from the hostile environment, and in between the sensor's pigtail or the quick disconnect itself, we put what's called a sacrifice cable. And there's a whole family of these application-specific, high durability cables, which are very good in and of themselves. For example, this is a silicone-coated polyurethane cable, or excuse me, it is a polyurethane cable with molded-in connectors that can resist the most difficult, most aggressive of welding environments. So we have a modularized system. This goes to the home run cable, this goes to the sensor or the sensor's pigtail. So if any one component gets damaged, that's all we replace. The sensor, the sacrifice cable, the home run cable probably never be replaced. So that's just one very, very unique thing that we can do in those environments to keep our sensor systems running more productively. And they are, again, application specific. For instance, this one is a braided steel cable. It resists cuts and chips and abrasion. This particular model has armor jacketing with a PVC cable. This is something used quite extensively in metals situations where crushed cables and broken cables are an issue. We have Kevlar and fiberglass models that can handle cable trays and flex very well and resist hot environments. We have washdown rated cables, and here's a pure silicone cable. These things are amazing. They can handle high temperatures. They can handle the kinds of environments that are very specific to their design. So if you have those unique applications, kind of pick the right thing to go in the right place. It's called application specificity. Another real unique product we have to alleviate situations are the silicone products. We can do really fancy things with these clear silicone tubing products. This particular product comes in a 1/4 inch opening up to 2 inches. So you can even cover bundles of wires with this stuff. But then the most important part is, how do we seal this up? How do we seal our system up against liquids and dilutes and weld debris, especially from real aggressive welding, resistance welding, and MIG welding? Well, we do that with a product called Weld Repel Wrap. It's very interesting. It comes with a Mylar liner. There's no aggressive adhesive on it at all. It bonds to itself, and the liner is there to keep it from adhering to itself. So you cut off a small piece, and we peel back the Mylar liner. You got to get it. It's got a stretchy effect. It's not sticky. But when you cut off a little piece and you stretch it, the more you stretch it, the tighter you wrap it, the stronger it becomes. So in this case, I've taken a piece and slid it over a sensor cable, and I'm going to start wrapping this on itself, and I'm pulling it very tightly so that it bonds to itself and it bonds to the silicone tubing. So after we have our whole system arranged, our sensor and our cable, and we want to make sure everything's sealed tight, this will become one piece. It'll bond to the silicone tubing, it will bond to the head of the sensor connector, and nothing can ingress, causing electrical problems down the road. It's a very good protected device. It can handle 600 degrees. It can handle a lot of weld BBs, weld debris, and fluids. Very, very useful product. Another interesting aspect of the wrap, it will seal an air leak to 700 psi, so it becomes a very useful maintenance item to repair those nuisance and expensive air leaks in a factory. It will insulate 4,000 volts, so if we have a cut in a line, we can do a temporary fix at it until the line can be replaced and still protect our workers. And it will bond to this silicone tubing material, making it one piece. Again, you'll have to cut that off with a knife pretty soon. The other little trick is we sell these silicone sheet goods. in rolls. Some companies buy this in rolls and they'll put it at the bottom of a weld cell, cut to a pattern. When all the weld debris gathers on it at night, they just shake it out into a waste bin, and they put it back in the cell to keep a lot of unnecessary cleaning from taking place. It's amazing. Or they'll put grommets in the top and use it as a deflective shield. It's extremely robust. Now, the one thing that people don't do in our world of welding, robotic welding, is that the pneumatic cylinders that clamp all the parts together when we're doing welding, they don't protect anything. So the very vulnerable reed switches, Hall effect switches, those vulnerable products out there get murdered, as do the cylinders themselves when they get peppered with constant weld debris. So you know what? A little piece of this Weld Repel sheet material over it will protect that. You can protect the tubing with a small diameter of silicone material, seal it all up, and then look, we can even see the light shining through the silicone wrap, so you know your sensors are extended or retracted. So we just tie this off with either Weld Repel wrap or a couple of zip ties, and then cover it up with a piece of Weld Repel wrap. Very useful products to help things going in hostile environments. The last thing I want to talk about today, just they're not actual enablers, but they are features of a product. These new coatings are amazing. This is a proprietary coating. Nothing will stick to this product. This inductive family of steel face products, so they can take a little bit of abuse, and they repel well BBs. And then for places that we cannot guard things in a bunker or a real protective mount, we can't do anything else, there's a real interesting product called Bunker Prox. It feels like it weighs a pound. It's very robust. It can take 2,000 degrees at the face. The diameter of the coil is much smaller than the barrel. It has about 4 times normal barrel distance with solid one-piece construction. You can hang it out there in the worst possible environment. Nothing's going to happen to it. Now, something interesting, we've had these ceramic caps out there for years, between 12 and 18 millimeters, and they just screw on the face of any 12 and 18 millimeter proc switch. And they'll really protect the sensor when nothing else can be done to protect that sensor. Very, very useful product, just to get things lasting longer in very robust environments. But something happened during the development of a new 8 millimeter ceramic cap. People today are putting sensors in very tight places, especially in high heat and impact situations, jeopardizing their longevity. It's really murder on them. So what I have in front of me is an 8 millimeter cap. But think about it, the range on the ordinary flush mount 8 millimeter sensor is only about 0.8 millimeters, less than a millimeter. So how the heck, how are we going to protect it? We put a cap on, we've used up most of our sensing distance. Well, something happened in the development of this cap. There's a non-flush 8 millimeter sensor. When we put metal out on the side of it, it'll trip the sensor. So for use in everyday environments, it's prohibitive. But think about it, this sensor has a normal 4 millimeter sensing range. When we install the cap, a phenomenon happens because of the thickness of the ceramic. And on the sides, we don't false trip the sensor at all. Nothing happens. On the front, though, we still get a great distance out of this thing, almost a full 4 millimeters. So we can put very small sensors in very tight places and still get the job done without damage. So you're not cooking the sensor like you were ordinarily before. You know, it's all about putting the right stuff in the right place for the right application, and then doing everything you can to guard, protect, bunker, and cover up materials in very, very difficult manufacturing environments. For more information, give us a call. Thank you.